Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car interior tutorial. And today in this episode what I think we'll do is I think we might work on the door cards a little bit. Um, for our center section here, obviously we're going to want to flip this over to this side and then remove elements for the actual dials and information and stuff inside there. So I think what we actually want to do is we're going to want to model this to some significant detail before we swap it across and then just delete the elements in the center. We're also going to want to keep, by the looks of it, the majority of this portion here. When we flip it over to the other side, it's just instead of going all the way down like this for the passenger, it drops down straight for the driver. So I think what we'll aim to do is we'll aim to get our door card done. Then I think I'm going to add some details throughout, so maybe to the seats, get a few things smoothed off here, so we're looking pretty good. Then we're going to work on this center section, and I think the absolute last thing we'll do is work on the main steering components over here on the driver's side. So with that being said, let me fire up a reference here to get some basic details on the door. So the door, it looks fairly straightforward. It looks like what we have here where this is flowing around, that this portion kind of cuts off around here, and then we have a large inset with a little armrest and stuff inside here as well. So it looks like what we're probably going to want to do is when we come along here, let's maybe hide some components inside. Let's go for keep the roof cover, we don't need that. Let's get rid of the window trim, we'll get rid of the A-pillar, we'll get rid of the windshield for now, and the side windows. Okay, still got the trim inside there, so that's fine. So it looks like what we're going to want to do is just tidy up what we have in here just a little bit now. This is going to be the portion that runs up along the door, so let's just maybe give this a bit more of an angle, like so. Because it does look like what we have here already is a little bit low. Let's maybe bring that up like so. That means that this bit here is going to come up a bit more significantly, like this. Something like that. We're going to want to make sure that we're maintaining a curvature to there as well. I think we'll want to maybe maintain some curvature here. And what we'll maybe do is maybe bring this portion in up here, just so we get a little bit of a smoother kind of element coming through here. Okay, so I think what we'll want to do is want to insert some loops. I think what we'll do is we'll drop one, actually let's draw this in. I think probably looks like we're about here, and then we're going to go up there, and then we can drop an edge loop in here to match there. So this is going to be the area where all the door controls are. Let's just make that reflect the same there. And then it looks like this portion here is actually going to go, but before we get rid of that, we do want to insert another edge loop over here, about there. So it looks like we're actually going to want to delete these faces. Well, maybe we don't want to delete them. Maybe we could just extrude them. So if we hit Control E here, we can take that in like so, and then delete these portions here. Now it looks like what we want to do for this is we'll grab these portions here and we'll pull those down, and then these ones here we'll want to pull in, and these here we're going to want to come like so. Okay. we'll actually want these to be a little bit closer potentially. Something like that. So it's getting gradually closer as it moves along over there. Okay. Let's maybe take this and the door. Maybe isolate this selection here. So essentially what we want is we're going to want this to meet up with this quite nicely, and we're going to obviously want to meet up down here too. With this portion, what we maybe want to do is grab these and just have them flow a little bit nicer. I think what we'll also want to do is we'll want to grab this edge here and going to bevel it ever so slightly. Something like that. Okay. And in doing so, we are going to need to clean this up a little bit. So let's maybe bring that up here. Maybe bring that over there. And this over here. That'll be fine. Actually, let's go for, instead of making a big mess here, um, let's maybe do this instead. Grab those, delete those, and then what we'll do is we'll snap this over here, merge that back. We'll bring this over here now. We haven't got anything to actually merge this to just now, so that's fine. So we'll just bring these back. We can maybe merge that one there, just to maintain a bit better. I think what we could do is could probably merge that one over here. Like so, so that's not looking too bad. Now let's maybe grab this edge here and let's extrude this one down like so. It's hard to see on my example here. We are going to want this to come back this way. Well, we're going to want this to come down here, and let's maybe snap that there. You can snap to it and just move up and around a little bit, something like that. I think what we'll probably do is let's actually grab all these edges here. And let's extrude these up. And then let's grab those and extract. And what we could do is we can actually combine these elements here, merge them together. Now that just saves us extruding a whole bunch of times inside there. That means that that's going to sit fairly nicely. Now, it looks like this portion in the center kind of stops around here. So what we could do, so let's maybe bring this up to meet it. Oops. Something like this. then it looks to drop down over here. So it looks like we're going to want to do something like that. I think we'll maybe pull it out a little bit here. Let's maybe grab all of these ones, pull that out too. And then we're going to need these edges here to kind of match as we go there. So it looks like as it goes along here and then cuts down, what we'll maybe do, maybe not go quite so high. And then our armrest here is going to be slightly separate. And it can be an actual separate portion. Okay. Let's just find another reference image for me here. Okay. So it looks like then what happens is inside here, so this is like a little compartment. So that's a little compartment inside there. This portion here is where the armrest kind of starts. So let's maybe grab each of these and let's extrude, and we'll extrude that straight up, and then we'll aim to straighten that off. I think we want this to come up a little bit more and to also be a little bit straighter. So I think we actually want that to be more like that, and then all of this here we'll want to kind of reflect. Cool. In order to do this, we're then going to want to insert an edge loop on here, because we're going to need this to snap over here. So then I think at this point we actually want this to get a little bit of curvature to it. Something like that. And then what happens here is this continues along at that same kind of angle before joining up under here. So let's get a little bit of rotation on this. Okay. So let's bring that back a little bit. And it looks like a little bit wobbly here, so let's bring this in a little bit nicer here. Something a bit more like that, looks good. Does look to get a little bit thinner as we go up here. So we'll get something a bit more like that. We just want to look to get a nice little bit of curve. So this portion here is nice and smooth. And then it looks like this is more of a handle when it gets over to this point here. So it looks as if it kind of follows this to maybe around here. Something around there. What we'll want to do is extract this. From that portion there. So let's now grab, not that one, not that, all the edges here, even the bits that merge underneath. So it looks like we want to grab all of these. Well, actually, let's just grab all of them just now. And we'll extrude this in to something like that. And then we'll need to deselect all of, we'll also actually, let's grab a loop up here. So I want all the edges apart from all of these. I'm going to hit Control E and then we'll take that in a little bit more. Just something like that. Looks good. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab everything down here. Take that in here. And then we'll want to kind of smooth that angle off there. And we'll do the same at the top. Looks fine. And then we'll take all of these ones here in nice and close as well. Something like that. We'll do the same to the bottom just to make sure it's nice and tidy all around. It looks like, let's just isolate this selection. Okay, that's okay. Looks like we're going to want to grab this edge here. I'm going to want to bridge that. And then we'll just do the same for all the edges around here. We'll want to get this edge under here. Just so it's going to smooth off nicely when we get around there. We may want to do the same to the back here, but we'll have a think about that later. Okay. It's looking okay. Now, the reason I'm going to add it back to that is because it looks like this bit here is going to be a fairly smooth turn. Okay. So that's looking okay. It looks like what we'll want to do is we'll want to grab, I think, all of these and let's extrude this in. It looks like I want to extrude into about there, but actually looks like we're going to want this to be coming out a little bit more. Something a bit more like that. Because it does look like the portion that goes up underneath this. I'll just ignore my Discord. Let's bring this out a bit more. Okay. And then it actually looks like I want to bring this one over here. Actually looks like this is going to go up here. delete those rear edges just for now. Looks like this is actually going to merge up here. So it's actually, it looks fairly simple, but it is actually somewhat complex. I do think it needs to be deeper, this portion, so let's maybe grab these inner portions and pull them in. What we could do is grab, let's insert an edge loop on here. We'll also let this follow on there. We'll also maybe have that come up here. This come forward there, just to kind of help that a little bit. We'll need to insert an edge loop up here. We'll need to do that because we're going to bring this edge up. And we're going to want to merge up here. And merge over here. Okay. So maybe grab that, just kind of reflect that same shape. And then it looks like here we're going to want to scale that in ever so slightly. Something like that. But we're going to want to merge those ones back together, because we don't want that portion to actually be doing anything. Let's grab all of these. We are going to need to drop an edge loop going up here. And then again, merge those ones. Then we're just going to scale this down and in. Like so. Should be fine. Just look like we want this to be more like that. Okay. I think as well, let's maybe make this protrude a little bit more. Just to give it a bit more of a dynamic. Something like that. Okay, it's not looking too bad. So let's grab these here. I want to bring that in the same. And then we can merge those. We've also got this edge up here. Now again, this is just a little bit of a base mesh. So we'll be coming back to clean this up when we add the details. So let's maybe bring this down here. Now what we'll do is we can merge this one. We can, well, we don't want to merge that one. We can merge this one. And we can merge this one. Okay. Let's drop an edge loop down here. So we can merge this one. And then for now, let's grab this one here and merge that just here. Okay, so we've got a basic door card in place there. Now, when we actually bring the seat in, it looks like we've got a little bit more room to play, so let's grab as much of this as we can just at the end of the video here. We'll bring that too. Okay, so if I bring in my references, what it looks like is it looks like the distance between this and the top portion there is quite nice. It looks like from a top-down kind of perspective that this portion here is actually looking pretty good too. It's actually a surprisingly flat door card. So I think we're looking pretty good there. When it comes to adding the details, obviously we'll get a little bit more curvature and things inside here to make it look a little bit nicer. But I think for now that's looking pretty good. I think then in the next episode we'll start to smooth a few of these elements just to make them look a little bit nicer. Once we've smoothed them a little bit, we'll look at flipping this inner section here over to the other side and then just adjusting it to match. And then I think it'll be good to start working on the center console. I don't really want to do that until I've got more detail on here. Let's just grab so it does then actually sit over here. So there's a fairly significant amount of space here for the driver's arm. Let's maybe grab that again, come back in here, and we'll maybe, don't need to do it from the underside, we're not going to see it, but we might as well. Might as well just bring that in. When it comes to adding the details, we'll bevel these edges a little bit so they look a little bit nicer. Let's just add a loop inside here. And grab all these vertices. Something like that, it's looking good. Let's maybe grab just to give a little bit more of a dynamic to it, just a bit more definition. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. Cool. We do want to, looks like we actually want this to merge over here. Yeah. Okay. And then it looks like we actually want all of this to kind of, yeah, it looks like we actually want all of this to kind of come down here. So let's drop in a couple of edge loops here, because this kind of caps off. We'll do the same here. We're just going to snap all of these here to this same portion, like so. And then lastly, what we're going to want to do is drop in a loop up here, and then merge those together. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Fairly happy with that. It looks like we do need to get a little bit more of a little bit more depth inside that middle section, but like I said, we'll focus on that a little bit more when it comes to the actual details. Just going to pull that in a little bit just so it's not going to affect anything. Okay guys, so I think we'll stop there for this episode. We've got that bit on there. Like I said before, in the next episode maybe we'll go around and smooth some elements just to make it all look a little bit nicer. Once we've smoothed the stuff, then we'll think about flipping this over onto the other side. Okay guys, cool.